Or let us say good day to you. Everyone, how are you all? All right, thank you. Let us begin this transmission with the title that we have chosen, called The Future of the Past. Let us begin by allowing us to read you a newspaper headline. JFK assassinated today in Boston, Massachusetts. This date, November 9th, 1968. What does this mean? This is a parallel reality, different from the one you now consider to be your history. And of course, there are many other versions of this scenario. We once shared with you that another version of your history that you experienced before the present one allowed this particular individual, your President Kennedy, to survive until your 1980s. But the one that we have mentioned today, November 9th, 1968, has a particular meaning to the history that you believe you remember. The idea is that history is not linear. It is holographic and is made of many different kinds of intrusions of parallel realities. At the very least, if not the events themselves, the effects of other events in other realities color what you consider to be your linear history. So to continue this example, the idea to remember is that what you think of history is always changing, always. When you as a collective group decide to shift to a particular parallel reality path, remember that as you become a new society, as you become new people, you also create a new history to go along with that, to make sense out of the choice that you made in the present. Because the past is created from the present, not the other way around. So you have had many histories that you are now unaware of, because every time you change, you wipe the slate and create a new history that appears to be the only history you've ever had. So, several years ago, you actually had a different history than what you remember now. But you don't know that. But because we can see the bigger picture and all the lines of intersecting energies between different parallel realities, we can see the path that you've taken. In this particular case, let's say one of the original history choices you made was that your President Kennedy was in fact assassinated in 1968. The reason for this is because near the end of his second term, he was about to reveal the existence of extraterrestrials. The idea is that it actually was revealed. And in that particular parallel history caused so much chaos and so much collapse in your society that he was labeled as the cause of it. And someone assassinated him for that reason. Now, because of the societal collapse in that particular history that went along with the revelation of our existence, you decided to shift as a society and take another path. And to prevent it from happening, you chose a history where he died in 1963. And therefore never had a chance to reveal what he had planned to reveal. However, to illustrate the point that your history isn't linear, that it is affected by ripples from other parallel realities all the time, because the original assassination occurred in 1968 based on the idea of the collapse of society, it created a very strong eddy, a very strong current in the fabric of space-time. So even when you shifted your collective consciousness to the idea of a history in which he died in 1963, effects from the original 1968 still existed and still impacted the new history, which is why Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King were assassinated in 1968. So if you begin to understand how this actually works, you can see that what you consider to be a linear history back in time is actually composed of many different parallel reality ripples and effects that all come together and change every single time that you change your idea of what your present is. That then changes what your idea of your history ought to be in order for that history to have brought you to the new present that you're at, because you still have to do it in a linear way to play the physical reality game. But in understanding this holographic nature of history, you can never really look at the idea of history in a linear way again. You will understand that it is a composite of many different overlapping realities, and it is constantly dynamically changing every time you make any change whatsoever. Not just the societal level, but your own personal histories as well, because as you become a new person, every time you redefine yourself, you create a new history for yourself. Now, if it seems to be the same, again, this is because you have wiped the memory of the old history, and the new history must appear to be the only history that's ever been there in order for it to make sense for the person you've defined yourself to be in present. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't sometimes choose to recreate similar events over and over and over again every time you define yourself and create a similar history to some degree. This does happen because most of you have an agreement not to necessarily go too far in breaking the continuity of your mass consensus reality about what your history ought to be based on who you consider yourselves to be or define yourselves to be in the present. Nevertheless, this points out that you always, every single moment, have a choice to change your past as you change your present. And to understand that the more you wrap your mind around this, the more you allow yourself to understand how this works and how it's structured more holographically, you have more opportunity to, within relevant parameters for your life, break that continuity more and more and more. And the breaking of that continuity will create more, shall we say, fluidity and flexibility within how you experience space and time, which means you will experience an increase in synchronicity, which is physical reality's linear space-time way of showing you that all things existed once, that they're all interconnected. You will increase your experiences of things like déjà vu, which is experiencing the idea of the forward arrow of time and the backward arrow of time simultaneously, because you have the feeling in déjà vu that you know what's about to happen because it feels like it's already happened before. So you're getting both arrows of time simultaneously by expanding your consciousness to incorporate that idea. You will increase many other kinds of experiences in physical reality. But what it will mostly allow you to do when you really understand this concept is truly be more lucid in the physical reality dream and truly be more conscious about the kinds of choices you are making, the kinds of ways in which you define yourself and what's true for you, and exactly what that does to the entire linear space-time reality when you do that. And it will give you more understanding of how you are creating your reality experience, because physical reality is just a projection. It's just a dream. And it's all about becoming more and more lucid in the physical dream and waking up in that lucidity. And then knowing more and more, and again, whatever way is relevant for you, that you can bend the idea of space and time because you're actually doing it all the time anyway. It's just that you're becoming more conscious of the mechanism that you're using. That's what's going on in this transformational age. You're becoming more conscious of what you're already doing. It's no longer being seen in an illusionary way as if it were real. You're beginning to break through the veil and see it for the illusion that it is. Now, this won't completely go away while you still choose to be physical, but it will give you a lot more flexibility in how you experience your physical reality. It will still always be relevant. Whatever comes up will always be relevant for the life path you chose, for the theme you chose to explore. It won't go beyond that relevance. But there are different degrees of relevance for many different people on your planet. So many of you will start to experience more magical experiences in physical reality. You will see that it is more flexible, more synchronous, and always has been. It's just, again, that you're becoming more and more aware of it. So the idea is that in the future, your history will really start to more consciously match what you define yourself to be in the present. So the future of history, the future of the past, is very open, very flexible, and you're beginning to understand that the past is just as indeterminate as the future is. That the probabilities of what might become your future also are the probabilities of what might become your past. Because these are both projections from the only place you actually exist, the present. That's all there is. There is only here, there is only now. So everything that is happening, everything that you think will happen, everything you think has happened, is just another projection, another reflection, another perspective of the now. And that's why when you change the now, everything else has to change, both the future and the past, because they're just reflections of what you're defining yourself to be now, and are as ephemeral as a reflection in a mirror. They do not have real solidity. You play the game that they do, and that's fine. But now is the time to allow yourself some leeway, some permission to break that continuity to the degree that truly serves you to experience yourself as the creator of your reality experience. Because remember, as we have said before, your natural state is one of spirit. You're all still in spirit right now. It's just that you're dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. You have never left spirit. You can't leave spirit, but you can dream that you can. And that's what this is. And we're sharing that dream together by agreeing to do so. And remember that you are redefining yourself billions of times per second. Your consciousness is slipping through billions of parallel reality frames per second. So at any given moment, you are always back to zero. You always have a clean slate. You always have the ability to redefine yourself in whatever way is truly relevant for the theme you chose to explore. And there's a lot of leeway in that. None of you are stuck in any way, shape, or form, especially not in this day and age. This is all about understanding consciousness, that you are an expression of consciousness, and that time and space are your illusions to play with, are your projections, are your tools to discover yourself from a new perspective, a new point of view. Because if you don't forget who you are, you can't remember who you are from another point of view. That's why you have this physical dream. To discover a new idea of yourself, a new perspective of yourself, a new relationship to all that is of yourself as an aspect of all that is. Does this make some sense to you? All right. So, we share that idea with you, that history is always changing, never static, exactly to the same degree that you believe your future probabilities change. But you, here, squarely in the middle, in the now, in the present, the fundamental you never changes. The structure of your consciousness never changes. The expression of it does, the form of it does, but the basic fundamental you will always be you. It will always be your perspective from which you are having any experience of a future or a past. It will always be from your perspective that you will have any experience of physical or non-physical reality. It will always be you, from your perspective, that will have any experiences of other dimensions, other realms, other parallel realities, anything you can imagine. It will always be you having the experience, because you are the constant. You are the structure that never changes. But your relationship to yourself, your perspective of yourself, always changes. Your experience of yourself always changes. And you get to decide in what direction it will change. The more lucid you become in this physical dream, the more you surrender to your true self, the more you will realize that surrender is actually control, because you are already in control. You've just forgotten that you are. So remind yourself and play with this idea of holographic history and see the bigger picture so that you can understand the relationship of how parallel realities work together to create not only the probable future, but the probable past, and how this informs you so that you can make more aligned, more harmonious decisions about who and what you choose to be in the present. Does this make sense? All right. Well, we thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you this day of your time. And in return for the gift of sharing that you are giving us, I ask now, in what way may we be of service to you? You may begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish. And it'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. Thank you once again for the co-creation of this interaction with each and every one of you and all of you together. For to us, it is a gift to be allowed to experience in you that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. We would like to begin this transmission with the idea of the hour of power meditation. Not that we will do that meditation right now, but we will describe to you how you can do it in your own space, in your own time. This is specifically designed as a permission slip that connects, for the most part, to the collective consciousness, so it can be a powerful permission slip for most of you. Each and every one of you, however, may, through your own communication with your higher mind and your own imagination, alter it slightly in ways that might fit you best, and that is perfectly fine if you do that. But we will go through the general idea for you to keep with you, for you to use, so that you can create a state of being of inner peace through the rapids of the upcoming changes and the shaking and the breaking and the revealing of secrets and things that were hidden, and the beginning of the dismantling of one system and the introduction of another in your society. For your 2019, as you sometimes put it, will be a little bit of a bumpy ride. And in then using permission slips like this to establish a sense of inner peace and allow you to feel more strongly connected to your indestructible core of your nature, of your being, you can create that bubble reality that will allow you to glide smoothly through all the changes that may occur around you and even within you. And so let us begin to describe this particular permission slip tool. Nania, will you assist us, please?
Okay, we're ready.
All right, please read the introduction on the page. All of you may follow along silently if you wish.
Each statement invokes a different state of being. Focus on each statement for 5 minutes, Then shift to the next statement. You can repeat each statement for the entire 5 minutes, only once or any number in between. You can say them out loud or to yourself inwardly if you wish. Your eyes can be open, looking at a clock, or closed. It's up to you. It's your permission slip. Let your imagination guide you.
Yes. Allow yourselves the opportunity to create this in your own way, in the way that works best for each and every one of you. And while each and every statement invokes a particular and very specific frequency and state of being, all of them together will combine to create a master frequency, that bubble reality in your energy field that will allow you to develop, the more you do it, this sense, this innate sense of inner peace, and allow it to become not your second nature, but your first nature, knowing yourself more clearly. Please read the first statement.
For the first 5 minutes, simply prepare yourself to begin. Become calm, quiet, and relaxed. Let go of the day's concerns. Breathe easily and deeply.
Spend that 5 minutes in preparation. You may be lying down, you may be sitting, you may be standing, again, whatever works for you. But it is simply a moment to let go of the concerns of the day and to truly devote your focus to the idea of these frequencies. For this is a communication, not just from your physical mind, but from your higher mind as well. So another thing that will be happening during this permission slip meditation, as you read these things and as you say them to yourself, will be that you will be strengthening the conduit, the connection of communication from your higher mind to your physical mind as well, and training your physical mind to be a better receiver from the higher mind and all the information that the higher mind sends you to guide you into the true being that you are. So after you have given yourself an opportunity for that first 5 minutes to prepare, to relax, to let go, read the next statement.
Repeat. I am who I am for a reason.
You are unique. If you exist, then all that is needs you to exist, for without you, it would not be all that is. So allow the first statement to be an honoring of your existence, your uniqueness. You are who you are for a reason. Your mission, your purpose in life, no matter how you may choose to express the mission, no matter how you may choose to express the purpose, is fundamentally to be yourself, your unique self as fully as you can, which is why it is so important to act on your passion, since that energy is representative and your physical translation of your core frequency, your true self. So this first 5 minutes of the meditation, and you may simply repeat the phrase if you wish, silently or out loud, it's again up to you, but it is for the purpose of honoring your existence and the fact that you are worthy of that existence, the fact that you belong in existence, or you wouldn't exist, because creation doesn't make mistakes. The second statement.
Repeat. No insistence, no resistance.
Insistence in your life on a particular thing that must happen or something will go wrong is actually a form of resisting what could be there much better than you even imagined. So allow the resistance in your life to melt away. Allow synchronicity to bring you what you truly need, and relax the idea of the negative ego's insistence on what it wants so that you can truly receive what you actually need that will benefit you best in your life. No insistence, then there will be no resistance. Let yourself flow, because every one of you has your own current in the river of creation. The current already knows where you need to go. Let yourself go with the flow. Resistance will have you swimming upstream against the current, and it will create difficulty and struggle and pain in your life. So relax, go with the flow. You will wind up exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be there. Perfect timing. The next statement.
Repeat. I am an indestructible being at my core.
I am an indestructible being at my core. The fact that you exist cannot be changed. You can change the form of your existence, the expression of your existence, the experience of your existence, but the fact that you exist is fundamental. You cannot change that. You are an indestructible, eternal being. That will never change. So feel that indestructibility in your core. And next.
The past and the future are illusions. There is only now.
Now is all there is. When someone asks you for the time, you don't say, it is then. You don't say, it is when. You don't say, it is will be. You say, it is now. For that is all that exists. And everything that exists, exists now. You have created the illusion of time to help you experience process in a certain way, and that is all well and good and is very creative. But the idea is that the so-called past and the so-called future are simply alternate nows existing simultaneously with whatever now you believe you are experiencing at this moment. When you shift, you are not shifting into the future, you are not shifting from the past, you are shifting into an alternate now, because that's the way you experience things from a linear perspective. But everything exists all at once. They are all here, they are all now, they are all within your consciousness. You are here and now. And next.
Everything happens in perfect timing. I will miss nothing.
Everything that needs to happen in your life, if you focus on what you need, will come to you exactly when you need it. It is not possible for you to miss any agreements, any appointments that you have made that are relevant for you to experience in your life, with one exception. Focusing and worrying that you will miss the appointment, worrying that you will miss the agreement, will allow you to miss it. But if you do not worry that you will miss something important, something relevant for you, you will not miss a thing. Nothing will be left out, for this is the nature and the definition of acting on your passion. It contains everything that's relevant for you, specifically for you in your life. That's why it's your passion, designed to harmonize with your frequency, and it automatically contains everything you need, and it will unfold, if you allow it to, in perfect timing. Nothing will be left out that is important for you to experience in your life. If it's not there, you don't need it. Let it go. Next.
My life is my own. No one can live it for me.
We understand on your planet many times you will be quite bombarded by people telling you what you should and should not do, who you should and should not be. And it doesn't mean that you cannot take advice, and it doesn't mean that you cannot follow guidance, for sometimes guidance is wisely given. But when it comes right down to it, you are the only one that can decide what is really true for you. If you explore yourself with honesty and clarity, you will know the difference between what really is your excitement and what really is your fear-based anxiety. You will know what direction is really true for you. And by choosing the thing that is really you, that is actually the best way to honor everyone else including your parents, even if they don't necessarily believe that your choices are of great benefit to you. If you have explored and done your due diligence within yourself to know as best as you can at any given moment who you truly know yourself to be, which doesn't mean you won't change, which doesn't mean you won't know more later, which doesn't mean you won't get better. Of course you will. But at every given moment, you are a perfect representation of who you are at this moment. And in the next moment, even though you may change and learn more and do things differently, you will then simply be a different perfect, not more perfect, a different perfect. So no one can really live your life. No one can really know what's best for you. Again, advice can be taken, can be listened to. You can assess it as to whether it's true for you or not, but ultimately you have to decide who you are, who you prefer to be, and what the path of least resistance is for you. No one can tell you that. You have to tell it to yourself. And next.
I am unconditionally supported by creation.
Unconditionally. If you need to, look the word up. It means with no condition. Unconditionally loved. Unconditionally supported. So unconditionally loved, so unconditionally supported that you are even allowed to believe you are not loved and not supported. That's how supported and loved you are. You're allowed to believe anything, even the things that are not really so. That is proof that you are unconditionally supported, because if you weren't, there would be conditions and you wouldn't be able to believe those things. You would be forced to believe something, but you are free to choose anything that you wish to believe. That's how supported you are. And next.
I am an expression of nature.
You do not live in nature. You do not live with nature. You are nature. You are an extension of that which is natural. There really isn't anything that is supernatural or paranormal or metaphysical. It's all natural. It's all normal. It all has representation in your physical reality in some way, shape, or form. We understand there are higher energies that are non-physical that you can tap into, but that doesn't make them supernatural. It simply makes them another form of nature. You are an expression of nature in all the things you do. Do not segregate or separate yourself out from the idea of being part of the natural world, the natural universe. You are an expression of nature. And knowing that and acting like you know it is what will also help you make all the connections to other expressions of nature that are important for you to experience your reality in a holistic way, rather than a jumbled collection of parts that seem disconnected one from the other. The more you connect to the true nature of your being, the easier it will be for you to connect to all other expressions of nature as well, and see yourselves as an expression of a holistic system. And next.
I always have exactly what I need.
Everything that comes to you, even if it's something in the moment that you neutrally and objectively recognize you don't prefer, must be there for a reason. If you stay in a positive state with it and know that at that moment, no matter how it looks, it's what you need to move on to the next best place, then you will relate to it in a positive way and be capable of extracting a positive effect from it, no matter how it looks, no matter how it originated, no matter what anyone else's opinion about it is, no matter what anyone else's experience about it may be. If you remain in a positive state, you will extract a positive effect from it. Whatever happens is the most important thing going on right now in this moment in your life. Whatever it is, no matter how it looks, stay in a positive state. You'll be able to use it in a positive way. You have everything you need. The manifestation will happen in perfect timing, but everything you need is right here, right now. Nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. Some of it may seem invisible to you, but that's just because it's not the time for that to manifest solidly. It's not the time for that necessarily to come into your awareness, because there may be a process you need to go through so that when it does manifest, you will have a deeper appreciation of exactly how to use it. But everything you need is right here, right now, already. You are missing nothing. And next.
I give and receive joy, love, and compassion.
Simply put, why not? Because that's what you are. You are joy. You are love. You are given unconditional support, love, and compassion. Why not reflect it? Because that is what will allow you to feel the connection to creation, to all that is, because that's the frequency of existence itself. So why not harmonize with that and know that you are giving it as well as receiving it, and that being of service by giving it is the best way for you to open up as fully as you can to receive it and experience it for yourself, because it's always being given to you. You never have to ask, really. Not really. Because the idea is asking is not really asking for something you don't have. You can ask, but understand that asking is simply asking to be more aware of what you're already being given. Big difference. Big difference. Because you have everything you need. You just have to pay attention to that fact, and you will experience that it is so. And next.
My life is a synchronous orchestration.
Absolutely. Every moment is orchestrated through synchronicity. Nothing happens by accident. Who you may wind up next to in the so-called traffic jam on your freeway is not an accident. It may not necessarily always have a lot to do with you consciously, but you are there for a reason, perhaps to serve what someone else might be going through. It's all an orchestration. You are that powerful. You may not know it, but you are that harmonized. You are that powerful. So powerful you are unconscious of it. You create it to be automatic in the background, so you don't have to overthink it. Just start knowing that no matter where you are, no matter where you wind up, no matter with whom, no matter what's going on, it's happening for a reason, and that reason is because you are part of an orchestration that may have a lot to do with you, a little to do with you, but always has something to do with your participation being needed in that orchestration in order for it to happen in the way it needs to happen for all the participants at that particular moment. If you could only see, really allow yourselves to feel the beautiful orchestration, the powerful orchestration that you all are, you would walk through your day absolutely gobsmacked with your jaws slack and hanging open. Wow. Look at the synchronism in that. And the more you focus on the idea that everything is synchronism, the more synchronism you will experience, the more you will actually be able to experience the orchestration. And pretty soon it will be like walking through a magical dream. Everything falling into place. You will see reality for what it is, a projection of your consciousness, a play on a stage, a beautiful, fantastic, complex play. It's amazing.
I've heard that there is therapy for schizophrenia that is very effective when you balance the brain chemistry and work with the neurotransmitters.
Yes.
And also there are mineral imbalances that contribute to schizophrenia.
Sometimes.
If she were to have this kind of analysis done for her son, would that be helpful to him?
If it is exciting to her to do so. At the same time, we are also accomplishing much of the same thing in what we have actually just given her, but in a different way. All right?
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'd like to explore something with you, if I may.
Well, of course you may.
this, as a child, I've always been interested in extraterrestrial phenomenon. Even though my parents weren't interested in it, I was just always gravitated towards it. It is my excitement.
Yes.
And
so many of you have extraterrestrial lives, and because you are not forgetting as much of all of who you are, many of you relate to the idea more quickly than the other generation does.
I am aware of the incarnation that I have as a dolphin going on Sirius concurrently. But really my question is about 5 years ago, there's an experience that's kind of spun my wheels for a while.
Spun your wheels, all right.
And this incident happened with my girlfriend. We were living together, and one evening her allergies were acting up, and so she said, well, I'm going to go sleep on the couch so you can get some rest. And in the middle of the night, I woke up, went out to the couch, and she was gone.
Yes.
Blanket, pillow, everything was gone.
Yes.
And I was like, well, where'd she go?
Yes.
And
a natural question.
And my son happened to be visiting his mother that weekend, so he was gone.
Yes.
And so I thought maybe she went and tucked herself into his bed.
All right.
So I went by the door, and it looked like there was someone under the covers, but it ended up being all my son's stuffed animals that were piled under there.
Oh, all right.
So when I saw it, it appeared that there was somebody in there, and being she likes to pull the blanket over her head, I'm thinking, well, she just went in there, and so I went back to bed. Well, when I got up in the morning, she was on the couch.
Yes.
I was like, what are you doing back out here? She said, what are you talking about? I've been here all night. I said, no, you haven't. So I got up in the middle of the night, and you were gone.
Yes.
And I believe, for whatever reason, for her agreements and stuff, that she was interacting with extraterrestrials.
Yes.
And I was just wondering if you can elaborate a little bit about that specific incident.
She was.
Okay.
Is that little bit enough?
If there's anything more, that would be good. But
does she understand that she has hybrid children?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she does.
All right, then. She was interacting with those children, helping to train them for the upcoming assimilation agenda.
That makes sense. Yeah, because she loves children, so that definitely makes sense. And as far as my own passion and my own joy,
yeah.
I'd like to have my own contact, and I know that on
the timing of these things will occur when they need to, and many of you have already had certain kinds of contact that you simply don't remember yet because it's not time for you to remember them.
Yeah, I've had several instances. I just don't remember the full details of all of them,
yes.
But I know there's been numerous ones in the last 6.
Yes.
So when you think you might be able to land, and we can chat.
Us specifically?
Yes.
Sometime after your year of 2033.
Okay. All right.
There will be open contact before that with another species. We will not be the first to make open contact with your planet. Another hybrid civilization will. Those that we have referred to as the Yael.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Yes.
We had a question from one of the News for the Soul listers regarding what you would like to share with us about what may be coming in the next year and what we perhaps can anticipate.
As we have said, your year of 2010 begins what we have called the span. The 5 years of 2010 to 2015, in which there will be very specific kinds of alterations and accelerations in energy and opportunities for the idea of true assimilation within yourselves and integration within yourselves of many of the things that represent your highest aspirations and your dreams, if you are willing to clear the path now. The idea being that you will begin to see many things come to light that have been hidden, and by your year of 2015, and we are again not saying exactly how this will come to light, but by year of 2015, the majority of the people on your planet will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that extraterrestrial life exists. And from that point forward, things will begin to accelerate in an extremely different way. But during this span, from 2010 to 2015, is your highest opportunity to ride the crest of the wave that we have talked about now for many, many years, as the threshold of 2012 pulls you like a magnet toward it, and as you cross it, and your momentum carries you all the way to 2015 through the span. This is your opportunity to tip the scales from negative to positive energy in your own lives personally by taking advantage of either the techniques we have talked about or the permission slips you have been given by your guides or others to really streamline and fine-tune the high-frequency vibration you can be. For as we have said in the past, and now more than ever, as you accelerate your frequency, as you upgrade your frequency, the slightest deviation, the slightest thing that is not aligned with the highest frequency will cause the entire mechanism to grind to a halt until you integrate it and rev it up again. You cannot now. You are becoming so highly refined, you cannot now stand even the smallest particle of misalignment, or the entire thing will simply come crashing down. And you will have to pick up the pieces and reintegrate. Again, you can get good at this. You can get faster and faster at this. But the idea is that through the span, there is very little leeway. It is, as we have already discussed with someone, like walking the razor's edge. The slightest deviation to one side or another will catapult and spiral you off in a direction that will allow you to experience cycles that you may no longer wish to experience. Allow yourself to remain in balance through this span. The energy is highly accelerated. You can, in a sense, no longer afford a large window of sloppiness. You now have a very narrow path of frequency vibration to walk that represents your true self. It will become narrower and narrower and narrower. Any deviation in that sense will be felt in that sense possibly as extreme pain. Allow yourselves the opportunity to experience it as joy by accelerating forward. Again, this is not set in stone. Each of you are different. It will happen differently on a case-by-case basis, but we are talking about the general collective energy and how you can take advantage of that collective wave and ride it. Otherwise, you may experience a great degree of confusion. But always you have now the sufficient tools to bring you back to square one, as you say, and carry you through the span clearly. In that time, many things will crystallize. Many things will come to light. Many secrets will be revealed on different levels of what you call government agencies. You will find that toward your year of 2013, there will be incidents that will completely rearrange certain political relationships in your world. Some of these will be positive and some of them will be negative. But it will lay the course and lay the foundation and lay the path for what is to happen beyond 2015 and what will accelerate toward the idea of contact between 2025 and 2033. But 2010 is the starting line. Allow yourselves to stay cleanly on the edge, in balance, with every opportunity to integrate that you can take, with verve and vitality and joy and excitement and love. That is our suggestion.
I think I'll take that to heart.
Please do so. For it is within the heart that you will find all the answers that you need when you actually know what the heart is truly saying, as opposed to what sometimes the negative beliefs will surround the heart with to muffle its message. Hatu.
Hatu. I'd also like to wish you, along with everybody else in the room, a happy birthday, because we know that your birthday was just a few days ago.
As it corresponds to your calendar, yes. Thank you.
Right.
And we wish all of you happy birthday, since today you are born anew. Yes.
Thank you, Bashar. I'm going to turn this over to Kim now.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Recently, I was doing a cleansing fast,
Yes.
and on the third night of this fast, when I went to sleep, I had an experience which was different than any other sleep experience I've ever had. It did not feel like a dream. It felt like a complete shift into an alternate reality experience.
Thank you.
I had absolute and full recall of all of the things in this reality.
Yes.
I was able to remember the past.
Yes.
And I mean, I had a computer with writings that I'd done. I had a whole life, a family. It was just a totally alternate experience, but it was still in this body, or in a body similar to this
Understood.
body. And since then, I've had a couple other ones which I had a little bit less recall of.
All right.
But I was just wondering what exactly not so much the purpose, because they were enlightened, they were pleasureful and enlightening in and of themselves, but if that's something that's occurring all the time, if I just had recall on that day because I happened to be, like, my system was more clean, or what the... Yes.
When you align yourself to higher frequencies, it is easier to perceive things that are relevant to those higher frequency domains. This is why, again, we say you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. But when you are the vibration of those things, you can perceive into realms that are heretofore invisible to you. And become aware of more of what you're all doing in different dimensions all the time right now. You become more aware of the grander life that you are living on multiple levels holographically and simultaneously. As you integrate more of yourself on Earth, more of your personality components, and become a more holistic being and raise your frequency, you become more aware of the holographic components of your greater being as well. No surprise. I
understand. Now, then my question, I guess, is this Earth that we are in?
Right now, right here?
Right now, right here.
As opposed to the one that was here a moment ago?
Correct.
All right. As opposed to the one that is here now?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
What I meant is this, let's say this general, apparent continuum.
Yes.
Is this the ground zero, so to speak? And I'm like, the dimension that I've experienced and shifted into, is that an overtone of this one? Or are they all, like, for example, does that version of me that exists in that reality experience this one as a fundamental or an overtone of itself?
It depends. Sometimes it can experience it that way. Sometimes what you are calling ground zero is irrelevant to those realities, and they have no reason to perceive them.
Aha. I see. So
Makes sense?
It's on a basis of relevance.
Yes.
I see.
That is why we say anything is possible. The real question is it relevant to your reality?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Does that help you?
That does help. On a second question,
yes.
Or actually more of a comment.
Yes.
A few years back now, actually, we had a private conversation where you told me to that it would be fortuitous, I believe was the word you used, to play the Hong in China.
Yes.
And I recently had the opportunity, and
thank you.
I got to play in the People's Hall, which was probably the very first time a Hong has been inside the People's Hall.
Very good.
It was really a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I was wondering if there are any steps that you'd recommend, further action on this.
Only by the allowance of your synchronicity, what was created that way, other things can be created in a similar fashion. There is no more methodology to say other than that which you've already used to bring about that manifestation as well.
So just really relaxed.
Yes.
Okay.
Did the people enjoy your performance?
They did.
They thought you played well?
I think so.
That means you were well hung.
It was only a matter of time before you made that pun, Bashar.
Yes. But this was the correct timing.
Indeed. Indeed. All right. Okay, great. Okay. Final question.
Yes.
June 6th, 2012.
Yes.
Venus will be transitioning in front of the sun from the Earth's point of view.
Oh, all right.
Is that correct?
Why are you asking us?
Because I feel like you have, pretty good knowledge on that kind of stuff.
Why don't you simply consult your own charts?
Well, okay. So I guess my question is, what I heard was that during this transition, while Venus places itself in between Earth and the sun,
yes,
a solar wind, a solar flare is going to.
Is this a variation of the other question that was asked earlier?
But this is this now.
Yes.
Now we're in a different reality, right?
All right. Very good. I will give you a different, similar answer. Go to the answer we already gave concerning everything that has to do with 2012, the last night of your time.
I see.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
When you make agreements with other civilizations in the Alliance to perform services for each other,
Yes.
what are some of the most unique services that you've had to perform for each other?
One of the most unique services that we have performed for other civilizations is creating an energy field in our civilization that allows them to create a temporary body in our civilization to experience our civilization temporarily. Thus, then, when they are done with that experience, they simply pop out, retract their consciousness, and the body dissipates back into energy. Thus, then, they do not have to have what you call a full incarnation. They can have a true physical temporary surrogate experience in one of our forms to experience the sensations of our reality without that full incarnational cycle.
And what do they do for you?
They allow us to perceive emanations that come from their combining of energies that would be akin to what you would call energy music, but it is in that sense silent. But the emanations have color, have frequencies, have patterns that are extremely unique in all the civilizations that we have found, and that we find that these patterns are revealing to us of different aspects of our connection to creation. So it is like they have created a consciousness mirror that when you look into it reveals aspects of yourself that you may have otherwise been unaware of.
Oh, that's deep. Also, when you help bring other civilizations into the Alliance besides us, what are some of the contact methods that you use with them? Because I imagine that their situation is probably very different than ours.
Oh, yes, of course. There are many different contact methods per se. One had to do with the idea of allowing them to appreciate that we understood their musical language. And in that sense, by replicating their musical language, they were willing to communicate. Do you understand?
Yes.
That was their sole criteria for allowing connection to other civilizations. That you had to comprehend and in a sense, repeat back or reflect back very specific tonalities in their musical language for them to understand that a true connection existed. Without that tonal reflection, they have a belief system that says that connection is not appropriate at that timing.
Kind of like with us, we have to see you first before we believe that you're there.
Well, not exactly in that expression. More the idea that we have to understand and experience that there is a piece of us in you before we will know that you know we are all connected. So if you are operating on that level, you will be able to show us that you're operating on that level by reflecting back to us the piece of us that exists within you. And when we see that reflection, we will know that you know we are all connected, and we will feel, in a sense, appropriate in strengthening the connection from that point forward. But without that reflection, they do not allow themselves to form a solid connection to that civilization.
Okay, and for those civilizations that you've already brought over,
Yes.
what was their initial reaction to the first physical contact with
Well,
you?
certainly they don't have all the same reaction. You understand?
Right.
It depends not only on a civilization by civilization basis, it often sometimes depends on the individuals that are first contacted and how they relate to their civilization. But generally speaking, open contact does not really occur until there is at least some measure of coherency and cohesiveness in that civilization. Thus then, even though there are a variety of ways that individual civilizations may respond to first contact, we only make that contact when we now know that the response will generally be positive and beneficial for the entire civilization. Nevertheless, one example of open contact was all individuals in that civilization all at once lying down on the ground facing skyward. This was their way of acting as intermediaries between their planet and the sky. It was their symbol for connecting what you would call heaven and earth. So when we appeared, and they recognized that the timing had come for them to connect to beings from the stars, they all lay down on their backs and looked up at the sky as an expression of gratitude and thanks and readiness for acting as intermediaries between their world and the stars.
Nice. Okay. One more thing.
Yes, sir.
You said that you learned from the Thuk how to make people forget that they met you.
Yes.
How were you able to figure out that they had this ability if you can't remember having interacted with them?
As we explored our own consciousness and elevated our own frequency, knowing that something had happened, even though we could not remember what it was our experience of what we call the watermelon seed effect. We knew something had happened, but our consciousness was prevented from knowing what had happened, and so we examined our consciousness until such time as we found a third direction to pitch our consciousness into that allowed us to awaken to the memory of those experiences. So they gave us the opportunity to look in a new direction we had never looked at before within our own consciousness.
Was it with their permission?
Of course.
Oh. And what kinds of applications have the Thuk found for their ability?
We are not allowed to share that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I have been frustrated for a number of years by by the tremendous gaps and blanks in the history that we have access to
Yes.
in the public sense.
Yes.
And if you really get into it, the more you get into it, the more you realize that so much of it makes absolutely no sense at
Yes,
all.
well, there are many, many, many things that have happened on your world that most of you are completely unaware of, historically speaking.
Well, my first question is, and forgive me, I know you've been doing these transmissions for such a long time, and you've probably answered this question in
is all
some
right.
way
It is
before.
all right.
But okay, I'm not familiar. So,
That is all right.
is there? Do you know of any reliable account that's accessible of that explains what happened since the development of the first hominid on the planet? I mean, what were the first? Can you talk a little bit about the first waves of migration or invasion of this planet and of those civilizations that came? I suppose I imagine there were several.
Many millions of your years ago.
And
There were what have been loosely referred to in one of your ancient languages, Sumerian, a civilization known as the Anunnaki. They came, their precursors came many millions of your years ago when there was upon your planet the species that you understand now as reptilian or dinosaur. You understand?
Yes.
They took some of the genetic material of those beings and blended it with their own to create a kind of bipedal hominid appearing type of being that many of you now recognize as reptilian extraterrestrials. But they do not interact with you in the way many of you have been taught to believe that they do. They were the first species transformed upon your planet long before what you call your own hominid species developed. This was what you call many millions of your years ago, approximately 72 million of your years ago. That is the first that we record of such incidents on your world.
So, in other words, what you're saying is that there was no. I mean, the American Indians have a belief that the first, in a sense, the first presence on this planet was human, but not.
That was the first presence within a particular age or era on your planet, not the first of all times.
Well, what I was about to say is the first presence in the ethereal sense, in the cosmic sense, that
Yes.
the spirit, the man-woman principle,
Yes.
rather oversaw the formation of the planet, so that it would be a home that would be suitable to the evolution of our species and so many others that have been able to adapt
Yes,
to it.
but that happens within timelessness. You are asking us about an actual historical timeline.
So, in other words,
Your spirit is timeless. It exists eternally, always has, always will. There is no timeline to that. And so your spirit in that sense, your consciousness in that sense, what you wish to call your soul, witnesses the creation of everything. And the understanding of how its connection to everything will eventually play out in some form of space-time historical linear fashion.
Okay, so following this along, in other words, there was no creature that evolved eventually into hominid.
Not on its own.
Before these other the Anunnaki arrived. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, why is it then that there are footprints, there are petrified,
Yes.
preserved footprints in existence where a human footprint
Yes.
coexists in the same space, obviously made at the same time as the dinosaur
Yes.
footprint
Yes.
that is surrounding it, that they must have been made at the same time. How
Yes.
did that happen?
Visitors. Transcending different dimensions of reality. What you would euphemistically call time travel. Parallel reality shifting. Visitors.
Oh, okay. That's amazing.
Even
Okay.
some of you. From your own future, visiting a parallel reality past. That happens to be yours. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Mind blowing, but yes.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
It is all right to have your mind blown now and then. In fact, it might be a good thing.
Another thing too that just is so irritating to me is that there has been no good explanation so far as to what the USOs are, the submersible, unidentified objects that are seen regularly coming
Yes.
in and out of the ocean.
Yes.
What are they?
There are temporary
Where?
bases under some of your oceans, and what you typically call UFOs often have the capability of simply going from air underwater and so become USOs. That's all.
But what are these bases? Are they actually in underneath the ocean floor, or are they
Some of
bases
them.
that exist in the water? Where do they go?
Some of them, in that sense, will go into tunnels that are representative of actual physical temporary bases in the crust of your planet. Others in a sense, will actually simply phase shift themselves and simply go through your planet. They just simply don't need to get out of the way. They don't need to go around your world. On their trajectory, they can simply go through your world. You understand?
Yes, sort of. Okay. And I guess the other question I had was in the last few years, I've gone to a few outdoor concerts at the Greek Theater, the Hollywood
right.
Bowl, and I believe that I have been aware of the presence of, and this is pretty much the only time I've felt this, but I think I've been aware of the presence of ships
Yes.
in another dimension
Yes.
above the amphitheaters.
Sometimes that is the case. As
I
we
feel
said,
it
there
is-
are observations being made, and there are, in that sense, observations being allowed from time to time to test the observation capabilities of your people.
Is this typically felt, is what I've experienced is sort of like the tipped me off just to kind of tune in was like an odd pressure on the top of my head, which is again the only time I've ever experienced this.
Different people will experience it in different ways. That happens to be what works for you.
And so the inhabitants of these ships, where are they from, by the way? Are they
Different places.
Okay. And are they then, they're testing to see if we pick up on their being
Yes.
there too? Oh,
To
okay.
gauge whether you are ready for contact. To stretch your senses. To expand your idea that you exist and can perceive in more than one dimension. Thus then allowing you to elevate your frequency, and in elevating your frequency, giving all of us the signal that you're willing to meet us halfway. Create a third reality in which we can both interact. All right?
Yeah,
That will do.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this timing, we will now extend to each and every one of you our deepest appreciation for allowing for the co-creation this day of your time of this transmission and the sharing with you of the crystallization of the structure of beliefs within your consciousness. The tool is yours to use as you will. Use it well. Our unconditional love to you all, and a fond, exciting, creative, and joyful bless you. Good day. Good day.
All right. Good day. This transmission is titled Reflections. We have realized of late that many people on your planet, when we talk about the concept that everyone is a reflection for everyone else, have a misunderstanding of this concept. For many people on your planet have thought that when they attract someone into their lives, that the issues that that person brings with them is a one-to-one direct reflection of the issues in the person who has attracted them. And this is not necessarily the case. When we talk about the idea that everyone is a reflection for everyone else, there are many ways in which to understand the concept of someone being a reflection for you. Because you can ask, a reflection of what? Reflection doesn't mean like a mirror that you're seeing exactly in them what you contain. Now, it's always a wise decision to look at what people bring into your life, what you have attracted both in people and in circumstances into your life, and to determine whether or not there is some advice or information that you can apply to yourself in this scenario that you've attracted that would help you improve yourself, better yourself, transform yourself. It is always wise to be humble enough to know that there may be information for you in what you have attracted that can help you change in a way that will allow you to be more complete, more fully representative of your true self. At the same time, if you can determine with honest self-investigation that the situation or person you have attracted in your life that seems to have certain kinds of fear-based or negative issues, or things that don't necessarily seem to be relevant for you immediately, can still be a reflection of your willingness to be of service and assistance to someone else, by helping them understand that there may be another way, another path, an alternative method, or other information they have not considered that can help them make the changes they need to make in their lives. So the idea is to understand that when we talk about everyone being a reflection for everyone else, we don't mean that what they have is necessarily what you have. A reflection can still be indicative of your willingness to be of assistance, to be a guide, to be of help in some way, shape, or form, to provide alternative ideas, helpful ideas, tools that they may not have considered, to help them change in the ways that will allow them to bring through more of who they truly are and to align with their higher minds. So please understand that the idea of reflection is multidimensional, and you have to have the honest self-investigation to be able to tell whether or not the people that come into your lives are actually reflective of something you need to know, or whether it is simply reflective of your willingness to be of service to them in some way, shape, or form. So we thank you for allowing us to clarify this idea of what it means for everyone to be a reflection of everyone else. And we ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues and your questions if you wish. We will now allow you to allow yourselves to relax. Breathe deeply. Breathe easily. If you are going to bring up any kind of imagery or music, you can do so to accompany what we are about to say. Allow yourselves to imagine, while breathing easily in a relaxed way, that you are at the center of a hall of mirrors, like in one of your amusement parks. And you allow yourself to see all the reflections in the mirrors around you, seeing yourself from all sorts of different angles, different perspectives. The front of yourself, the sides of yourself, the backs of yourself, even the top and the bottom of yourself. Seeing yourself from every angle possible. There are mirrors all around, above you, below you, all around you. In this case, however, you recognize that all of the reflections are actually conscious, self-aware, different versions of you within you that express the idea of different perspectives, different themes, different explorations of your being, different aspects of your creativity, of your manifestations, but that from time to time, different people will come in and take their place so that they will look different than you look, but still reflect to you what you need to know to be more of yourself, as you then reflect to them what they need to know to be more of themselves. But it comes with the understanding that it isn't always a one-to-one reflection, that what those other beings and other people bring when they take the place of your reflections and look different than your reflections and carry with them their own issues are not necessarily reflecting to you the issues you have within yourself. As you continue to breathe deeply, you're willing to absorb whatever information and advice this reflection may have for you that would be beneficial for you to apply to yourself, to change yourself, to uplift yourself, to raise your vibration with, to incorporate within your being that would aid and assist you in being more of who you truly are. Your willingness to do that is front and center. At the same time, You do not have the assumption necessarily, after exploring yourself with honesty, that that is necessarily a reflection that you need to understand. And it may be that these beings, taking the place of your reflections in the Hall of Mirrors, are bringing to you a reflection of your willingness to reflect to them what they need to know, what they need to understand. That will help them in choosing different paths, different ways of understanding themselves, so that in their reflections, they can learn to be more of who and what they are. A reflection isn't the same as the idea of a glass mirror in this context. It is a reflection of your willingness to be of service, to be of help, to be of benefit to others by reflecting to them what they need to know, to make themselves whole, to understand themselves from a different perspective, to give them the gift of a different path, a different idea, a different choice, an alternative that they may not have considered, that allows them to function more holistically, even as they may allow you to function more holistically by giving you the opportunity to be of service, to give them gifts that they may require. So never assume that just because you attract someone that seems vibrationally incompatible with you, that it is a direct reflection of any kind of lack of integrity or out of alignment in you. At first, be humble enough to assume that it may have a message for you, but if you have, with your honest self-investigation, determined that that is not the case, then be willing to receive the reflection as your willingness to be of service to them, to reflect to them what they need to know, so they can be more whole, in the same way that you are willing to be more whole, more truly yourself in this life, to raise your vibration and be the being that you were created to be. At your core, in your essence, in your heart of hearts, in your knowingness. Take a deep breath in and allow all these reflections all around you, above and below you, to give you what you need, so that you may reflect back to the reflections what they need to be more holistic aspects of creation, more holistic reflections of all that is, so that you can all be the puzzle pieces you were made to be in the shape you were made, so that you will all fit together to create the whole picture that can support all the pieces, so that all the reflections harmonize with the validation of the individuality in each. That is the true essential self at your core. Breathe it in and crystallize it and make it your own. Continue to breathe, relax into this, accept it with willingness, with excitement, with creativity and imagination and inspiration, and be the gift that you were made to be, and receive the gifts that you are willing to receive that will help you become more of who you are, so you can become a living example to others, that they can be more of who they are as well. Be of service in this way. Give the gifts you have to give, for there is someone waiting to receive them. Our unconditional love to you all. We welcome you home. Aveo. Good day.